Looks like we're live.
Yes, it does.
How's the weather there in Tennessee?
Raining and storming, and tornado sirens are going off around me right now. I can hear them way off in these towns, little towns like 6 miles away. I
I
can't get
appreciate you
anything to
coming
hear
on,
me on the
John.
radio or the TV. I don't have any stations I
Thank,
can go in.
thank you very much for coming on. This is awesome, man. We're going to talk about this. Is this just the beginning for America?
I don't know. I don't. I've looked at it several different ways. They
I
sure
mean, what is
didn't.
your? I
Well, I
believe it's
mean,
just the begin. I believe it's just the beginning for America because I heard on the radio from a commentator that 45 days ago, China was in the beginning stage as we are now at the same rate. Is what I'm saying is over the last 45 days, we saw how it progressed over there. Now it's starting, they say, to slow down. Um, yeah. So if it's starting to pick up in America, then what we're going to have over the next 45 days, 2 or 3 months, is we're going to have a major outbreak, is what I think.
yeah. And what I'm wondering though, right now, I don't know. The old conspiracy mind, it gets me to thinking and stuff, and I don't know if I should shut up because I'll say it on my channel, but I don't want to. I'm not promoting fear by any means, but the numbers right now, I mean, it is increasing. But if you could track, and this is how I look at it, if you could track the normal flu, I think the numbers would be about the same, and the death
Let me
rate.
play. Let me play this sound that I have about a pandemic before we really get deep into this and get started. Thank y'all for
Okay.
coming in, Miss Ann Wadsworth, King Tash and Grigo, Kelly Kebo. I appreciate it. Thank y'all. We was going to talk this
Sexy too
afternoon,
much.
Nikki. Sexy too much for you and Nikki. And People's Last Stand was here just a minute ago. This is about a 10-minute montage of a type video. Before we get too deep into it, if you don't mind.
Coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, and the disease it causes, COVID-19, is spreading across the globe. And as more cases appear outside of Asia, you're probably starting to hear the word pandemic.
The risk of a global pandemic is very much upon us.
Global pandemic could become a pandemic with the potential to become a pandemic.
Let's unpack what that word actually means and how you can protect yourself going forward. So, what is a pandemic? Simply put, a pandemic is a disease that spreads globally, crossing international boundaries and affecting a large number of people. To put that in context, here are a few other helpful definitions. So firstly, we have this definition of an endemic disease. That means a disease that's occurring at a steady, predictable rate. Then you have outbreak, which means a disease that's spreading well above and beyond endemic levels. An epidemic, on the other hand, is an outbreak that spread to a large geographical area. Keep in mind that one disease can change status over time. Now, going back to the P word, the classical definition of a pandemic doesn't say anything at all about disease severity. It's really all focused on geographic scale. So far, the World Health Organization hasn't referred to this as a pandemic.
Our message continues to be that this virus has pandemic potential.
Although many epidemiologists, myself included, are treating it as one. The spread of this new virus, SARS-CoV-2, is likely past the point of containment, and that's the first thing you try to do with a potential pandemic. It's what China was trying to do with massive quarantines, the likes of which we've never seen before. But once you're past that point of containment, you need to quickly pivot to another focus. A disease that's already spread to many different countries, you need to focus on slowing the spread of infection. To do this, you have to properly isolate people who are infected and try and quickly develop treatments and vaccines. It looks like, at least so far with this new virus, that the death rate is a lot lower than other severe coronaviruses. That doesn't mean many people haven't died. We've seen thousands of deaths. But the overall death rate is closer to around 3% for this new virus, whereas the death rate for SARS was around 10%, and for MERS, the death rate was over 30%. Now, just because this new virus doesn't seem to have as high a death rate, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have a plan. So how do we protect ourselves right now? I know this sounds really pedestrian, but trust me, one of the best pieces of advice is to wash your hands with soap and water regularly, have good cough hygiene, so like cough into your elbow, cough into a tissue and then throw it away, and also get your flu shot. I know people are kind of like over hearing about the flu at this point, but the reason I say it is that if you get sick with the flu, it massively increases your risk of getting secondary infection, like the coronavirus. Also, you can practice what's known as social distancing. That means simply limiting your exposure to other people by working at home, for example, or if you're in public, maintaining a distance of 3 to 6 feet between you and others. I'm getting a ton of questions about masks, understandably. You need to wear a mask if you have symptoms of respiratory disease, symptoms like coughing, or if you're looking after people sick and have those symptoms. You also need to know how to properly use a mask. And be aware of things like once a mask is moist, it's not as effective and needs to be replaced. Wearing a mask without full knowledge of when and how to wear it can be dangerous because it gives people a false sense of security about how protected they really are. If you do need a mask, health authorities recommend a regular surgical mask because that prevents droplets from other people coming into contact with your mouth and nose. And if you have symptoms, it prevents those droplets from you reaching others. An N95 mask is recommended to healthcare workers caring for sick people when they're doing procedures that bring more fluid up from inside a person's lungs. That's more dangerous, so that's why an N95 mask is recommended. Bear in mind that with masks, it's not one size fits all. You want to make sure that a mask you're wearing really is right for you and really is working. One way to do this, ideally you get fit tested, but also when you put an N95 mask on, you can do a seal test where you breathe hard and you feel to see whether any air is escaping around it or not. A question I get asked a lot is, should you wear a mask if you don't have any symptoms, like just to be really, really safe? The answer I normally give is no, because if you wear a mask unnecessarily or you stock up on a ton of them, you're just contributing to the mask shortages that we're already seeing and taking away resources from people who truly need them. So for now, take advice from what your local health officials are saying. I think what history tells us is that pandemics are inevitable and to be expected. And that's really why we need pandemic preparedness plans at national levels and also at family and community levels. To understand just what pandemics are capable of, let's look at a few examples from human history, starting with perhaps the most infamous pandemic, the Black Death or the bubonic plague. Now, this pandemic got its name from its symptoms, specifically lymph nodes that became blackened and swollen after bacteria entered through the skin. Lovely, I know. Now, this isn't the first pandemic by any means, but it's certainly one of the deadliest. It lasted from around 1346 to 1353 and resulted in the deaths of somewhere between 75 million people up to 200 million people. It's mostly associated with Europe, but it's thought to have originated in Asia and then spread across that continent as well as possibly Africa. There are a few theories about how the disease spread to humans. Some scientists say it could have spread to us directly from rats. Others say there's some evidence that it was actually spread by fleas that lived on gerbils. Let's fast forward to 1918, and here we run into the Spanish flu pandemic, which infected 1 in 3 humans alive at the time and killed about 50 million globally. It's only called Spanish because Spain was not involved in World War I and it was neutral. Therefore, it did not have new censorship. So when this outbreak arrived in Spain, that's when it got press coverage. Whereas in France and other countries, it was not mentioned in newspapers at all. The Spanish flu killed really quickly. There were approximately 25 million deaths in just the first 5 or 6 months. Part of the reason for that, though, probably had to do a lot with poor living conditions at the time and the fact that flu makes you susceptible for other infections like bacterial chest infections, and back then there were no antibiotics. And unlike what we're seeing today, where it seems that older people are more vulnerable to death from COVID-19, at least based on preliminary data, Spanish flu was different. It was wiping out young and healthy adults. Then there's the HIV/AIDS pandemic. HIV quickly spread from Central and Western Africa to every continent on the planet in the 1980s, and it's killed more than 30 million people around the world. It's also the first pandemic for which there's been global activism and a very rapid development of treatments. It went through the whole spectrum from being an outbreak to an epidemic to a pandemic, and now many people say we can call HIV endemic in some parts of the world. Thanks to advances in medical technology and the AIDS activists, HIV should be a chronic, manageable condition that you live with your whole life.
Was that it? I don't hear any more sound, Dave.
Reporting and responding to outbreaks. These new plans for a more coordinated global response to pandemics came into effect with the 2009 swine flu pandemic, which was caused by a new H1N1 flu virus and killed between 150,000 to around 500,000 people. It spread pretty widely. It was seen in both northern and southern hemispheres between April and September of 2009, which means it also spread outside of the normal flu season. We've learned that people can either die from the disease at hand or develop immunity to that disease. And that means that as the disease continues to circulate, it won't have that same devastating impact that it did the first time around. One example of this is the H1N1 virus that caused the 2009 flu pandemic. That virus is now a common flu virus that circulates worldwide, but it doesn't cause a pandemic. So how does a pandemic end? Virologists estimate that this new virus will likely stay in China and continue to seed other countries in the world until maybe it just becomes as common as the other four coronaviruses that cause the mild common cold. Some people are even starting to call it the fifth coronavirus. So maybe that'll be its story. It goes from COVID-19, which caused this terrible situation, to the fifth regular coronavirus causing the cold. Some virologists even predict that maybe 40 to 70% of adults around the world will become infected with the new virus before this is all over. But many scientists still say the vast majority of those who become infected are more likely to have a milder version of the disease. What we have on our side versus those poor people facing the Black Death, for example, is we have the capacity to more quickly develop treatments and vaccines. A COVID-19 vaccine candidate could be ready for early phases of safety testing in April, and if that goes well, testing could begin to see if the vaccine actually prevents disease by the late summer. But reality check, it would still be 18 months at least after that any vaccine would probably be available. So yes, you will be hearing the P word a lot, but remember, definitions of pandemic focus on geographic spread and do not focus on the severity of the disease.
That's it. I hope you heard the whole video. You know, 60 to 70% of us can become infected. Can you hear me, John Boy?
I hear you loud and clear.
Did you hear me say that 60 to 70% of us could become infected with COVID-19?
Yeah. I just don't know what to think about it. I really don't.
They say it's growing at a slower rate than most pandemics. They haven't called this a pandemic yet.
Well, look, it's bad when you got the National Guard doing a quarantine circle around the neighborhood.
You talking about in New York now?
Uh-huh.
This is not the illness that is going to be dangerous. Be the change. I put the link up there, Be the Change, if you want to come on, any one of you. It's an open panel today to talk about the coronavirus. Articles I would pull up, even to back up what John Boy has said. I can show you part of it.
And Wallisworth just said, who? Oh, she said, who just declared a pandemic an hour ago? Who did? Who said they did?
World Health Organization.
Okay.
That's who is the World Health Organization. Be the Change is coming up.
Hey, Be the
How
Change.
you doing, Be the Change?
What up? How you guys doing?
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yep. So, can I give my 2 cents on the situation real quick?
Yes, you.
Absolutely. That's why you're invited to come up.
Okay. Basically, okay, is there an illness going around? I believe that there is. But people are getting hung up on that aspect of it and not really thinking about the whole broader picture, which the illness, you get sick all the time, okay? The same odds are playing with this as the odds that are playing with any other illness, regardless of what it is. They're trying to get you to not look. They're trying to get you to look here, and then they're going to hit you with this hand, okay? Basically, what's going on is this is going to be a good reason for an economic collapse. This is going to be a good reason for shelter in place and slow the economy down for multiple different reasons. One of them being that we've had record crop losses over the last couple of years. Okay, and it's only going to get worse as we go into the grand solar minimum, but that's another topic. You know, the real situation that you got to worry about is not the illness. It's an illness. Just wash your hands and poop standing up, I guess. You know, that's a joke, but, you know, just wash your hands. You know what I mean? It is an illness, but it's going to be an economic downfall like nobody that is alive right now can really speak on.
Well, as I was saying earlier, we're at the stage that we're behind China. 45 days ago, when this thing started breaking in China,
Yeah,
we're
about
at that stage.
3 weeks behind them.
Well, I heard 45 days from a professional commentator named Glenn Beck. That
Right on.
this thing will, according to them, progress like it did in China over the next 2 or 3 months.
Oh, it's going to get bad. It's going to get way worse than we're going to have higher numbers than what China is. It'll get so bad that we can't even test everybody. You know what I mean? It's already to that point. We've had so little like acceptable tests that we haven't been able to test everybody. It's already passing throughout everything. Don't think that it's not. You know what I mean? We're effectively 3 weeks behind Italy right now. You know what I mean? So at the very most, like 21 days from now, it's going to be completely different around here. You're not going to be able to leave your house. And it's just because they're going to start testing more and more. The more that they test, the more they find. It's already out in the public. They just don't know where.
Italy is 100% under quarantine right now, and they have a high death rate. They have like a 22% death rate because most of their people are elderly.
Mm-hmm. They've got a higher percentage of elderly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they claiming, well, from what I also hear, that we're like at this moment like a 6 or 7% death rate in America.
Well, I mean, I guess that really depends on how you're looking at the information. Like the thing that you got to really think about is that, yes, we have, you know, over 1,000 cases right now. Let's say we have 1,000. Okay, well, that's only 1,000 that we found. That doesn't mean that there's only 1,000 cases right now. So the death rate is probably much lower. It's just we're only focusing on the ones that are in the hospital. You know what I mean? Like there's a huge percentage of this population that'll get the sniffles, not worry about it, and won't go to the doctor about it. You know what I mean? So you've got to imagine that's just 1,000 of the cases, which is probably only 17 to 20% of what is actually out there. You know what I mean? So they did the same thing with the measles. You know what I mean? They used to, whenever they did the numbers for the measles, they only focused on the people that had enough illness to go to them. They didn't focus on the 99% that didn't even get
in the Apple TV App Store.
Sorry about that. There's a question for John Boy. Why is the government doing this to us, John Boy? From Nathaniel Lee.
Well, it's several different things. One, to cover up the economic collapse that was headed our way anyhow. Two, is to go ahead and get the New World Order installed. That's, and why not make the people dependent by stopping the supply chain? No more supplies going to your stores, and you're going to get dependent on the government to help you. And then you're going to be begging the government, and the government's going to say, oh, well, if we come together as a one world order, we'll get everybody help. And that's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to vote for New World Order. And it's a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this is not a virus that's killing people, but it's not killing anybody any more than a regular flu does. It's just they put a marker on it to where they could watch it and do it live time and put fear into everybody. And they stopped the supply chains, and they're doing this quarantine, and they're going to put us in martial law or a medical quarantine, which would be like a martial law. It's
that
just
brings
crazy.
me to a national emergency. Do you know a national emergency would be a constitutional crisis? Not exactly to the point of martial law, but yeah, it would be right on the edge. A national emergency is what we should be watching out for.
They're going to call it today or tomorrow. I was just reading an article about that a couple minutes ago.
Well, it's easier to count the states that don't have any, cases of it.
And the state of emergency as well, because there's a bunch of states with state of emergencies. I was just reading them off right before I clicked onto this. I've got the page pulled up and everything if you want me to share it.
You're right, yes, please do. I heard last night, that North Carolina, the state right above me, went under a state of emergency.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay,
well, what freaks me out is the one, there's one in Memphis, Tennessee. Well, my stepmom and stepsister work at hospitals in Memphis, Tennessee. And my dad is already on oxygen, and he's in his 70s. So that worries me there because
if you get the full-blown case of this thing, you got to be on life support to survive it. If you get the full-blown case of it.
Well, my dad's lungs are compromised now, so if he got it, he's a goner. He'll be a statistic.
How many life support systems are there? The hospitals have but so many. Go ahead, Beat Change. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was trying to say I'm sharing this if you want to see it. I don't know if you got to click on it or how it works.
We're not trying to freak anybody out or anything like that. We're just trying to go through the specifics and the details of this thing. Yeah, okay, Beat Change. I'll share you.
Yeah.
Let me share your screen.
Let me know whenever you can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Can you see my cursor, like my mouse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's like a couple states that don't have it. You know what I mean? Like Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, North Dakota, and then you've got Alabama. I've seen conflicting numbers. I've seen some places it says that it has it. I think it's a misprint though, but they aren't. But if you go and you look in the local municipalities, they're actually not testing. So that doesn't mean that they're not there. What's going on is I think they're trying to have it slowed down in a way to where it doesn't freak people out, which that's a good idea because there's no really stopping this. It's just a cold. You know what I mean? But look, all these things beside it are state of emergency in the state. Like it goes down in descending order. I read this on my live stream last night, but like there's so many. Right here's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's 20 states
also
right now.
Also through radio, I heard that we're expecting 4 million new tests to come in. The thing is they hadn't tested 3,200 people yet.
That's it, and that's why we have so little cases. That means that 1/3 of everybody they tested comes up.
So 1 out of 3.
It's everywhere already. But so I don't know. I'm trying to see what you guys are seeing here. I see. Okay. So, basically you see like where it is, and then you can actually go and you can see what counties they're in. If you click on this is a great website to see. You know what I mean? So you can see which each one of these counties are. You can find your local municipality, like for in Pennsylvania, like this is all out in Eastern PA, directly straight up above Philadelphia. They're like, a couple of them, but they're only like an hour or two away from where I'm at, but they're not testing in my area at all. It doesn't matter. They won't do it.
In New York, they've started this. There's some military on the ground.
In New
I'm
York
not
City.
sure where. It's in New York City.
Am I good to smoke on your stream? Or no
Go
cigarettes?
right ahead. Long as we don't have vulgar language or anything, I'm fine.
I will do my
Go
best.
right
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I'm a cursor.
Here's a small video I recorded. Let me see if it'll play.
Now, this link I'm about
outposts of reason, and not panic. Anywhere in the media. It's incredible. It's incredible.
It's kind of scratchy. What he was saying, what Rush Limbaugh was saying is, being this has come from China, there's some type of nefarious dealings here.
Most certainly. In one way or another.
Yeah, very nefarious, trying to bring Trump in the economy, trying to affect this presidency. The stock market, as we know, is tanking. It's going to affect a lot of things.
Well, look, I'm posting the link to that map in the chat. If anybody wants to get that link and have the map themselves, there it is.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You
Good
go
idea.
ahead and save that. If anyone else wants to come up, like People's Last Stand, if he's still here, I really appreciate everybody's opinion and whatever details we have, far as, evidence or just whatever information you'd like to share.
Is Shauna still in the chat? She uploaded a thing. I've got it pulled up. I will not play her video, but it was called House Meeting Going into Recess, Emergency Meeting at the White House.
Yep, that just happened. Yep.
Yeah. And I was wondering if Shauna wanted to come up and maybe share that or talk about it. And
I wanted to share what I heard John Boy say the other day. If I can get it to pull up. My Wi-Fi is a little weak here and it's clouding up. We're expecting storms in South Carolina.
yeah,
Change you sharing good information there, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. That's the meaning of this. It's to pass it out,
Be the Change is 100% real. I mean, he's not fake. He's not fear-mongering. He's just telling it like it is.
Some people need like a good swift smack to the back of the head.
And it still don't help.
No, you're right.
I got Chrysler Imperial.
Yeah. Chrysler Imperial, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. I'm not an expert at this screen sharing crap, but
Me neither.
None of us are.
I still can't even download it, John Boy. I've been trying. I tried it twice today, and I'm like, you know what?
Really?
I'm just not supposed to.
Do you have anything important on that laptop that you could just set it back to factory settings and maybe
I
to
really
clear up?
It's the only place that I have pictures of my kid's mother passed away.
Okay.
can y'all see what I put up yet?
No, not yet.
I know there's a delay.
I'm strictly on StreamYard as far as the video. I popped out the chat on the YouTube so I wouldn't have so much bandwidth being used.
I don't know why we don't see it yet. All right, let me try this. I got you. I'm looking on my cell phone to try to keep up with it. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist myself, you know, but I try to keep up with what I see. It's fixing to come along, I think. I'm not a professional. I just play one on YouTube.
Well, I'm a genuine hillbilly from Tennessee, and I am one on YouTube.
And you are one on YouTube.
Yeah. But I've been questioning,
but it's not.
Since I was 3. Only thing I see up there, Dave, is your StreamYard.
I see that. Yes, like an echo. Here's People's Last Stand.
Okay. Oh, he's got the mask on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I'm safe. I don't care what everybody else does.
Right.
I'm just gonna make sure I'm safe. Everybody out there saying this ain't bad, this is just a flu, this is just that, this is just this and that. What it comes down to, are you gonna protect yourself and your family? Forget about what's going out on the street. You gotta protect your family now and stop messing around with this kind of shit that's going on. People think this is a joke. This is not a joke. This is serious. And people are gonna are dying from this stuff, and people are just playing games. We as a society need to stick together and work as a group to protect and help our families. That's priority. To heck with anything else. Forget about all the other conjectures, the ideas, the views, the opinions of what's going on. To hell with them. Protect your family. Forget about everything else.
Watch the language.
I've been watching it too long.
No, your language.
It's all good. I just don't like the F-bombs. You know, my audience.
Yeah, exactly.
The audience ain't big. Well, the audience ain't big on F-bombs. That's all.
Well, that's because people are afraid to use their words anymore because we're so politically correct. You can't even use your own damn words anymore. It's a shame, and it's a sad situation that we have to live in a world like this now and be critiqued on our words and what our beliefs are anymore. I thought we lived in a free nation. We don't live in a free nation. We don't even live in reality. This is not reality, guys. This is a reality of the government and the elite setting it up for us to fall. And that's all it comes down to. You know, I hate to be I'm trying not to be a jerk, guys, but I'm really tired of hearing this stuff about the coronavirus just being a flu. Well, it's not just a flu. People are dying, and it doesn't matter if it's the flu, the measles, a cold, or whatever. People are dying. That's the problem.
Right. I don't like the idea of comparing it to the flu or anything else. This thing is all by itself, and it's causing people to die. And that's what we need to be focused.
Right. And
we need to be focused on that.
Right, exactly. And we know that this was a lot of you may not have heard it, but I know a lot of you guys have. This is a bioweapon. How can we have the coronavirus and have a marker of the HIV in it without it being a bioweapon or somebody created this?
There's no debating that it was created in a lab. What I'm saying is they were able to track this from as soon as they released it, they knew to start tracking it so they could make these numbers come out there. And if you could track the regular flu, I guarantee you'll see the same numbers.
Right. But for the numbers right now, the numbers are outnumbering the flu right now on the amount of people that are catching it.
Yeah, but dying from it.
You're not like there is like a huge percentage of people that aren't going to show enough symptoms to really warrant going to the hospital, and that's
Right.
those are the people that aren't going to be tested and added into that equation.
Exactly, and that's like me. My wife and I both ended up getting sick in that. Did we go to the hospital to get checked? No. You know why? Because we're not going to be quarantined. We're not going to be locked down, just like everybody else that's out there. More than half the people are not going to the doctors, guys. I guarantee this. They're not going to go to the doctors. They're going to stay home and deal with it themselves because they do not trust society anymore. They just don't trust them.
Well, you know
Nobody
why?
does.
You know why most people aren't going to the doctors? Because they don't have health care.
Well, that's true.
It costs too much.
Well, it does cost a lot of money in that. It most definitely does. But the reality is we're being attacked not only mentally but physically and spiritually, and we know where that came from.
We have Sister Golden Hair fixing to come up. She's in the background here. Here she comes.
Hello.
I welcome all opinions.
Hey, how you doing?
Man, thank you for coming on. Where'd Be the Change go? People's
I'm
Last
still
Stand.
here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
nice
no.
to see you live stream, Dave.
Ma'am?
Do you see them backstage?
No. What'd you say, Sister Golden Hair?
Nice to see you live stream, Dave.
Well, thank you. I got the day off and I wanted to focus. John Boy said he would come on, and I appreciate Be the Change and People's Last Stand, and thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I am. Just to give you a little background, I'm a retired registered nurse from Northern California. And I was in the business for about 25 years, and I worked in many areas of healthcare. I studied epidemiology, and my county of Sutter County has just declared an emergency, but we are just directly north of Sacramento. So this is not all that big a surprise. So this virus, we're still in the beginning stages of all this, Dave.
Yes, ma'am.
This is still the beginning. We don't even have enough test kits to go out there yet. The initial test kits that went out were faulty. And South Korea is just putting us to shame on testing.
200,000 they tested already.
Yeah, it's amazing. And they did it, I guess they're calling it drive-through testing, which is, hey, go get your Starbucks and get tested.
It's smart because then it stops people from interacting with each other all the time. You know,
right? It's perfect.
You got one set of place where you're going. They can be sterile. They know how to do it properly. Well, where you're going and you're sitting inside of a crowded waiting room and you're infecting the whole darn room because this thing's airborne.
Yeah, they here in Sutter County, they're advising if you think you have coronavirus, which they haven't declared anybody as a positive patient yet, but that's coming. They advise you to call a phone number first, but not go into the emergency room or urgent care.
And get triaged.
And wait and infect everybody else in the room, including all the healthcare workers. So yeah, it's this is just the beginning, and I agree with you, Dave. For them,
I was saying that earlier. I was saying that earlier that we're 45 days behind China when this at the same rate, just over 100,000 45 days ago for them. And how many deaths now? I don't have the numbers written down in front of me, but yeah, that we're actually behind them and we're fixing to speed up in the same rate or so that they, sped up to.
Straight
and
up.
I believe the numbers for us are not correct. The Johns Hopkins site, with its little red dots that are getting bigger red dots, that information is old. It's not current information. So I would just say that, the numbers for us are only as correct as the amount of people that were tested.
Yeah.
And we're not testing everybody we need to.
Nope, not even
Yes,
close.
They're expecting 4 million new tests to come in this week.
Well, and how accurate are they? Where are they coming from? Were they made in China?
Yeah.
Well, they said that there's only like
Exactly.
there could be 50 to 70% of the cases get by that test, at least the one that they were currently testing on.
Yes. And apparently, and this was brought up to Congress this morning. I saw the gal that actually directed the question. She said,
Yeah.
and very correctly so, why is South Korea so much far ahead of our curve? They have a more accurate test. They're doing the drive-through testing, and we're just lagging behind. And the T-Man says, "Oh, don't worry, it'll be over soon." Well, that's really an ignorant thing to say.
Yeah, I would say he's trying to like get his demographic worth of people to not be worried about it. Well, there's people like me who've been screaming like Chicken Little for 2 months now, and trying to show people like information, and nobody wants to look because Daddy Trump said that it's not a thing.
Well, and people just don't want to disturb their own matrix.
They dissonance.
Yeah, they don't want to think that this is even real. Well, guess what? It is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very real.
Yes, ma'am, I believe it.
Oh, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
I believe it to be real. I don't believe this is a hoax. But I'm confused somewhat. Some videos came out in the beginning from China. You can't find them anymore. I mean, you don't really know what happened. A lot of videos came out showing these plumes of smoke and carbon and stuff above China. I guess they were burning people. I mean,
well, yeah, we did see the video of them moving in more crematoriums into Wuhan.
The mobile ones, yeah.
So, and that makes sense. Unfortunately, it's very sad, but obviously they were dealing with a high death count.
America probably, I mean, I can't see us coming to that point. That's crazy. Like John Boy would say.
They would do it real down, though. They would do it while we're locked down, so that way there wouldn't be a whole lot of people out there being able to say about it. You know what I mean? Why do you think a year ago I used to make tons of videos, and I stopped doing it because I couldn't do it on my phone mobilely anymore because I don't have 1,000 subs, right? So it takes 99% of the average everyday person who isn't above 1,000 subs out of the equation of being able to be a whistleblower.
That's true.
They'll monitor you regardless. I mean, they've taken away. I just have a couple hundred subs, and they will play Russian roulette. When I think I should have 3 people added, I'll have 2 taken away.
The same thing happens to me. I get people who are adding me all the time. I get the notifications for it, but as soon as they do, somebody else goes away every single time.
Yeah. So,
what I'm saying, I've realized now what I'm trying to say. With all them crematoriums, burning people, whatever, William B. said, I've seen video of China supposedly cremating their people alive. If America doesn't resort to something like that, what I'm trying to say is it will possibly get more out of hand, even worse than China could have ever dreamed of.
Yeah, because we're such an open society, quote unquote, laugh out loud.
Yeah.
That could be much more difficult here. But I don't know what's coming down the road. Doesn't look good though.
No, it looks terrible.
So I have my toilet paper, my rice, and my beans, and God. So
that's all you need.
That's what you need.
Goldenhair.
Yeah.
You can't eat your toilet paper, though.
Get to your channel and sub.
What, honey?
Could you put something in chat so I can go to your channel and sub?
Yeah, same
yes.
here.
It's just Sister Golden Hair, although my family says I'm really hard to find.
Type in
Why
the chat.
can't, if you go and chat something, I'll be able to go to your channel and sub.
Oh, okay. I'll do that. Yeah. I'll do that in a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Starlight says your symptoms may not show for 2 weeks, so you could still have it. You know, what is this deal that people may not even get any symptoms, and some people may get life and death situations? You know, I mean,
That's with every
is that like because your immunity is strong? I also heard someone else say taking vitamins aren't going to help you. I mean, what is your opinion?
I would say, Dave, build up your immune system as best as you can to fight it. The people that are dying do usually have comorbidities, you know, such as an example, you know, heart failure or blood pressure problems, and you know, the age seems to be anybody 50 and above, but people younger are getting this and are dying from it.
Yeah,
So
there has been a small percentage of people that are below the age of 50, but it's like 80% of the people have been above the age 60 years old, and there hasn't been a child death under the age of 14, and that child had like a like cystic fibrosis or something, had like a terrible lung condition anyways. So you know, things are, it's like, I'm not worried about my children. It's not that's not the reason I quarantined my family. The reason I quarantined my family is because I don't want to go and be around old people. And if me and my children have it in a mild case, I don't want to pass it to somebody else, you know?
Yeah, no. And, you know, you're one of the sane people out there. I just had quite an eye-opening experience. About 5 days ago, I went to a small local grocery store in Sutter County. And I know the people there, so I always chat with the clerks and such, you know, and chat it up. And the one clerk told me that the day before, a gal got off a flight in Sacramento, California, from northern Italy. She rushed over to the grocery store before she even went home and shopped that grocery store and checked out before she even got home. In other words, to change your clothes, take a shower, blah, blah, blah. So how many other people are doing this?
Probably more than you'd think, because usually people try to hit more than one stop on the way home type of a situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone heard this, but there was a law in China that was passed back in December that everybody would get inoculated or vaccinated with whatever these vaccines were. And now this outbreak, you know, came about. Does anybody know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that one, Dave.
I know I'm not vaccinating my children. Whenever
I'm not
they
getting vaccinated.
I'll be damned.
All right. One other question. I also hear they may have turned on the 5G, you know, along with this vaccine or whatever, that may have caused this outbreak. Does anybody know anything about that?
Every single big city, Wuhan, Seattle, Beijing, Hong Kong, you know, I don't think Hong Kong has it turned on quite yet, but there's all these big cities where they're getting the big outbreaks is where the 5G is, and that's Seattle. You know what I mean? Like, that's really coincidental.
I don't think
it's not a coincidence.
I've heard of some people, and more than one, try to blame 5G as the problem for this virus. I don't believe that, but I do. 5G is not helping stop this because it's not good for your body.
No, it's terrible for your body, really.
Yeah, it's
and
horrible.
if it gets cranked up, it can start giving you flu-like symptoms to begin with.
And mess up your immune system.
It's like standing in front of a microwave with the door open.
Yeah, it oscillates your red blood cells.
Mm-hmm.
That hurts. So yeah, not good. Not good. Definitely.
Yeah, I did a video like a week ago, how these fungal pathogens are being woke up or somewhat growing. Everybody has fungal pathogens, but when they turn this 5G on, it will like grow more fungal pathogens in your body and weaken your immune system even more so.
Yeah, that's not going to be good, Dave.
Well, this is my deal. All right, for example, I did a video on crazy ants. These crazy ants are attracted to electronics and electrical currents and stuff like that, right?
That's how they communicate.
Well, look at this. What if this COVID-19 is genetically modified to be enhanced with the 5G? I think those ants were designed in a lab, to be honest with you. Never heard of them until about 8 years ago.
Well, electromagnetic frequencies affect a lot of different types of, they don't attract, but they affect a lot of different types of bugs. Like they affect bees, flies. You can make ants go around in a circle, by playing certain binary beats. You know what I mean? Like that's what Tesla said. If you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration, and energy.
Exactly. And who is in charge of all that? Lucifer.
The negative ones, yeah. Hey guys, I hate you guys off. I gotta go. I gotta go deal with kids. Thank you very much for having me, Super Dave, John Boy, and it was nice to meet you over here. I don't know which side.
Thank you for coming out.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, I'm gonna sub to you. Don't worry. If you put something in the chat, I'll sub to you. Thank you.
I will. Thank you.
Peace out, everybody.
See you later, Big Change.
Thank you. I appreciate Be the Change coming on. Sister Golden Hair, what do you know about fungal pathogens as a nurse?
If they can overtake you pretty well, if you let them get out of hand. So I'm kind of currently studying, natural remedies to prevent this from coming. Because I've seen this happen even here in NorCal, where we're very dry and hot in the summer. But I've kind of seen that rise a little bit here in our area.
Yes, ma'am. Does the weather or surroundings, environment cause, in your opinion, more of the fungal pathogens? This is something new I'm learning somewhat, because if this breaks your immune system down and then we get this coronavirus, you'll never fight it off.
Yeah, we've got to, I'm finding ways to naturally boost my immune system. I'm, investigating a lot of different things. And that's all I can do is just boost my immune system. I think the chemtrails have something to do with it too. With God knows what they're spraying on us. We know a few of the things, the aluminum, barium, and strontium, and possible lithium, and coal dust ash and other things. So that's not helping. I've seen trees die on my property that shouldn't have died. I couldn't figure out why else they died, and they were young trees.
Well, check this out, Golden Hair.
Yeah.
I've got over 25 muscadine vines that have fallen out of the trees, and they're wrapped around the base of them on the ground.
Wow.
That's odd to have every muscadine vine fall.
That's interesting. Yes.
All my wild edibles have disappeared. I've watched them die out over the last 3 years. And I watched what was happening. It's like they were not able to reproduce seed.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, I've been watching. They spray heavy and hard over me. I have 4 different time slots during the day where there's back to back. You don't hear the first plane go by and you're hearing the second plane. Then you're hearing the third plane while you're still hearing the second plane. And they do that 4 times a day for about 45 minutes on top of what they're doing already throughout the day.
What state are you in?
I'm in West Tennessee.
Okay, yeah. Well, I got a sister in Nashville.
Well, she sees it too because they're headed her way.
Yeah. No, they plaster us up here in NorCal. I mean, I'm actually having blue sky right now. I feel like going out and taking a picture of it because it's a minor miracle. But through Google Earth, I've seen the drones that can spray, and they have 7 of them over here at Beale Air Force Base. And they're big planes, and you can tell that these drones can carry disbursements. So, and I see them fly because you don't hear them, and you don't see them on Flight Radar 24, that application, to see what's flying and spraying above you.
These planes are low enough that they are so loud, and it's not the jet engines that are loud, it's all the nozzles that's mixing into the air that's
Oh my
making the
goodness.
noise. It sounds like a rocket taking off.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I've got videos of the sound. It's hard. I don't have enough video equipment to actually do it right, but you can hear them. I mean, they wake me up at night.
That's crazy. Wow.
Is humidity supposed to kill this coronavirus, you think, Sister Golden Hair?
No, I
It
don't
makes
think
me
humidity
cry.
will have any issue with it at all.
That's what we're being told, that the warm will move in and kind of control this virus. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It
You
doesn't
would
make
think
any
like
sense.
the way mold grows and the heat, I mean, and germs, you keep a cool environment to keep the germs down,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Alaska and Antarctica are having any problems with it, although they're not populated as much. But yeah, I agree with that.
Well, the cold should keep it dormant. That's how they store all these things, is in a cold, what do you call it, a cryo thing or whatever?
Yeah, cryogenic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and then the fact that, I did some research on it about a month ago, and I was looking at some articles in John Hopkins on their site where I found that there was 4 insertions of HIV virus into this. So what do we know about HIV? Well, we know that you can have it dormant in your body for years until it shows its ugly head, and you're a carrier forever. In other words, your body does not produce immunity to it just because you get it. So the fact that Bill Gates Foundation is one of the big 3 that are funding a new vaccine for this is kind of suspect. Because why isn't there a vaccine for HIV?
Hey, they have commercials now saying they have medicine that makes it virtually undetectable.
HIV or the coronavirus?
HIV.
HIV, yeah. Virtually undetectable, but does it
It's
say
still
that
there.
it actually gets rid of it?
No.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. So that's my case in point. If they think they can make a vaccine for this, and yet we've had HIV since 1985, I don't know.
HIV's been out longer than that, hadn't it? Like 82, wasn't it?
Yeah, the outbreak actually happened in 84 or 85 in San Francisco here.
Okay.
That
Because I
brings me-
remember
that
going
brings
to
me to the
freshman in high school and remember hearing about the HIV.
Yeah. Yep.
That brings me to the story here I found in the National Geographic, since you brought up Bill Gates.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
I dropped that comment off, Dave.
Do what?
That comment's covering it up.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, it's cool.
Told you I'm not that good at this.
Uh-oh.
I wanted to read the article.
Dave.
All right, I have to hide the comment. Very good. Let's get back to this. All right. The more I practice, the better I get.
Right on.
Practice makes perfect.
It says a disease tracker backed by Gates and Zuckerberg tackles COVID-19. Why would they even come out with such an article?
What is it saying?
I would have to read it. Let me see.
Are they saying, are they trying to make it look like they put the ability to track this to help mankind? Or, I mean, are they, what kind of spin are they putting on it?
Here, I'll read the first few paragraphs if y'all have time. The two tech titans funded an effort to bring megagenomic sequencing in solve communities, trace the spread of the new coronavirus. All right, let me try to move my screen a little bit. But so I'm taking this opposite. You know, I'm taking this the opposite of what they're really saying.
Well, they're trying to spin it up as a good thing.
Oops, I lost audio, Dave. I'm gonna
we hear you.
And come
I
back.
hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, she dropped out, Dave.
All right, I'm gonna read it. Jessica Manning had no experience with the coronaviruses. The infectious disease researcher had lived and worked in Cambodia off and on since 2013. In mosquitoes and Mekong Delta and how their saliva helps spread disease in humans. But in January, I'll be dang, something's popping up, man. How do I get this? But in January, the country flagged its first COVID-19 patient in the lab that delivered the diagnosis wanted to send samples from the patient and his family to send samples, okay, to Manning for further testing. Manning works at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease Laboratory and of Malaria and Vector Research in Nome, which is part of a decades-old collaboration between NIAID and the Cambodian National Center. This is a very long article. Yeah. What it is they're tracking the virus. Are you here, John Boy?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Pretty much. That's what they're doing. They're tracking the virus because it's in the title. It tells you right there. A disease tracker backed by Gates and Zuckerberg. They think they can tackle and control the COVID-19 by tracking it.
Well, they've been tracking it since the start.
I don't know if it's.
You know, they did a mock test of.
I don't think this article. Go ahead. She's back.
Well, I was going to say,
I'm having
like 4 months ago, didn't they do a mock test of a pandemic with the coronavirus? And then right after that mock test to see how it spread, now we got the real thing going.
So, Dave, sorry about that. I got a phone call and it bumped me off the show here.
It will do.
I'm sorry.
I'm back. I was reading an article about just this just before I found your live stream. And apparently what Bill Gates is wanting to do, and Zuckerberg and all the rest of the cronies, is develop what's called an insertion of quantum dots on your skin when you get the vaccine, when it's developed. So to know that you've had the vaccine, all they have to do is scan your arm or whatever with a UV light, and they will know you've had the vaccine.
I heard
That's
they got
right.
RF chips small enough to go into vaccines to where they can see if you're vaccinated by RF.
Oops, got bumped off again.
You're still there.
Oh,
You still
sorry,
here?
guys.
That's right. We hear a lot of things out here, you know, conspiracies that in this vaccine for coronavirus, when they come out with it, it'll be a chip or some type of, I don't know, what is it, nanobots or something. When they scan you, they will know if you've had this virus. It'll be like wearing the label of the 666 or something like that, you know?
Well, like Golden Hair just said, Sister Golden Hair just said, if they put in a dye basically to where they can use a UV light and scan it on you, and they can tell you've been vaccinated with the dye that's in the vaccine.
And this is proof that she just read, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, so our thoughts and pretty much our conspiracy thoughts are pretty much correct, you know, is what we're saying.
Well, this is how I've always seen it, Dave. If I can think it up, somebody's already doing it or have done it. You know what I mean?
Theodora Christopher says, tests are mostly fake positive. Corona equals common flu is all flu variations multiple. Everyone can be positive at some point.
Well, they've got different
We're not
markers.
Go ahead.
Well, every virus or whatever has got a different, like DNA. Nobody's DNA is the same, and none of these viruses are the same. But they can take one virus and genetically manipulate it so they can have a marker in it.
Like a DNA marker.
Right. But they can genetically modify it to where they know what the marker is. That's how come they're able to test for the coronavirus, because it's a little different than the influenza virus 1 or 2. So you got the Spanish flu got its own marker. The Hong Kong flu got its own marker. You know what I mean?
Found it buried said, I heard Elvis and Michael Jackson are still alive. This is why it's so hard to believe what I hear.
Elvis would be over 100-some years old right now.
That's a good one. I like to laugh, man. Let me see what.
Including Donald Trump. Want to have a push-up?
I'm going to put the link out there again. Anyone else want to come up before we move on to anything else? Or the same subject, information.
A union worker, construction worker at one of the auto plants. That too was bizarre.
I wish I'd have called the news at the top of the hour. Yeah, I just wanted. Good thing we had a nurse on today, you know, because she's giving great information. I appreciate everybody coming. We have Tommy Travels, Found It Buried, Brenda Barnett, Miss Ann Walsworth. Yeah, you don't have to come on and show your face. If you have any information, anyone about your town, your city, your state, you click on that link. You can hide behind the avatar and we can hear your voice. You know, please come on and talk to us and tell us a little bit of information you have.
Yeah. Well, you know, I can say this much. I have not met anybody who's even got the common cold. But I'm not trying to knock what's going on. I'm just saying I haven't met anybody sick. The problem our biggest problem is fixing getting supplies.
Yeah, if we're like 2 months behind, you're exactly right. We're fixing to run out the way it looks.
Yeah.
For a short, maybe a short time, maybe for a few weeks. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know how long the supply chain has been stopped, but it has been stopped. And my way of thinking, it's not in concrete or anything, but if everything just stopped right now and we got everything going back to normal, it's going to take a good month to get the stores back to where they should be. I mean, it's not really showing now, but it's about to show.
I am an American in Italy. William B says. That's awesome, man. We can on lockdown. Trust me, people are dying. I met somebody yesterday at work that was sick, like the flu or whatever. I'm like, man, why in the world are you even here? You know? I said, you could have the coronavirus and not even know it.
What did he say?
It was about an hour and a half later. He went back home. But still, it's possible I was exposed. I mean, this guy walked by me, past me, like 6 or 7 times, and it's the truth. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I don't know if I'm exposed or not. I mean, what I'm exposed to, and he was down 30, 40 feet, sneezing and stuff, you know, sneezing. You definitely get a fever, you cough, and you get short of breath, and you need a respirator to keep you alive.
I saw somewhere where they said some Korean, what was it? It was a clinical person from Korea. And they said one way to test to see if you might have it or not is when you get up in the morning, take a deep breath and hold it for 10 seconds. And if you can hold your breath for 10 seconds without discomfort or coughing or anything like that, you're pretty much going to be all right. But what it is, this stuff is causing fibrous tissues in your lungs. And if you wait too long and you get over 50% fibrous tissue in your lungs, there ain't much they can do for you.
Here's an article. I'm not sure if I can pull it up, and I'm not going to try to. Let me see if I can play the video. The WHO, World Health Organization, calls coronavirus. Let's see.
In the past 2 weeks, the number of cases of COVID-19 outside China has increased 13-fold.
13-fold.
And the number of affected countries has tripled. There are now more than 118,000 cases in 114 countries, and 4,291 people have lost their lives. WHO has been assessing this outbreak around the clock, and we're deeply concerned both by the alarming levels of severity and by the alarming levels of inaction. We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Characterized as a pandemic. Over 118,000 cases, something like that. It's characterized as a pandemic. I'm expecting a national emergency to come up soon.
Oh, it will.
I got Kicks. Hello. I've been in his live stream. Thank you for coming in. We was talking about the coronavirus. Come in and talk to us a minute, please. Tell us what's going on in your city, your state, or just anything you want to talk about. There's the link. Yeah, we have rung the alarm bell loud and clear, says the WHO, World Health Organization, Chief Tedros, calling for united action. The World Health Organization on Wednesday referred to the coronavirus as a pandemic for the first time, reflecting the virus' rapid spread across the globe. This is the first pandemic caused by coronavirus. we have rung the bell alarm loud and clear. The COVID-19 typically caused the common cold, but deadly viruses SARS and MERS were also coronaviruses. Yeah, this is like the fifth coronavirus number 5.
Yeah.
He emphasized that countries can still take aggressive steps to beat back the spread of the new coronavirus and believes that united action can effectively combat the spreading illness. The pandemic does not change the WHO strategy for slowing these outbreaks, nor should it affect how countries are tackling cases. There's a little bit more, a couple more paragraphs. There has been so much attention on one word. And let me give you some other words that matter much more and are much more actionable. These are the prevention, preparedness, public health, political leadership, and most of all, people. We are in this together to do the right things with calm and protect the citizens of the world. Unlike a public health threat, health emergency, which is declared based on specific international law criteria, there is no formal World Health Organization process that governs whether the organization refers to a global outbreak as a pandemic. Instead, the heightened rhetoric simply reflects the worsening trends that officials have been observing for some time. Across California, the number of cases continue to grow, including the death Tuesday of a woman at a senior living facility. Officials are saying it's increasingly unlikely they can contain the virus and instead are focusing on slowing the spread. The community spread has already occurred. See, that's what we're talking about. This thing is already unleashed into this country, John Boy, and how are they going to contain it? You know?
They're just going to have everybody, like I said a couple of weeks ago, they should go ahead and tell people to stay at home for a month. Don't worry about your bills. We'll have your bills exempt. You know what I mean? They should have done that a long time ago.
Being I got the day off, I might go take a nap after this, y'all. If anyone else, I'm going to give everybody else a chance to come back up. And tonight I might do a growth stream.
I saw
this has been
Kicks. I got Kicks said his daughter's been at Disneyland in Florida. That's why he's so worried.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard that Disney World, if there's like an outbreak there, then we're supposed to take it serious. That there had been other sicknesses, in places like that before they even came out into the public. I've heard this the other day. I hear a lot of stuff and I don't write it down. I should. Let me read on a little bit more. The Sacramento County health officials announced Tuesday that a patient in her 90s was the county's first. Okay. The woman was among 140 patients of the facility in Elk Grove. After 2 family members with students at multiple sites tested positive for coronavirus, yesterday the district announced that an elementary age student in that family had also tested positive. I hear that some schools are shutting that. Colleges, that's what it is. Colleges and universities, some of them are shutting down. What is it? The one up there?
Harvard.
And it's another one.
I think it. Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
They're going to hold classes on the computer,
Yeah, the late night shows are making fun of that already. talking about getting your college degree on the computer at Harvard. It's like, what?
Like what? Also, something else in Florida. I was hoping Kicking with Ben would have came on today. Spring break is occurring, and a lot of kids are heading to Florida for spring break because you can't go into different countries right now, you know? Have you heard that, John Boy?
No, but I've heard where they're just canceling a lot of stuff like St. Patrick's parades and towns and stuff that usually have big St. Patrick Day parades, and they're just canceling a lot of events where people will come together, even sporting events. They're doing sports with nobody in the stands and stuff.
Yeah, the Boston Marathon may not even go on.
Oh, the only thing the last I heard on the Boston Marathon was they were saying they only wanted the runners only to show up, no spectators. That's
Dang.
what I heard that like over a week ago.
James Gipe, do you have any information about this coronavirus? If you do, you're welcome to come up. The only thing I ask, keep it clean, please. You're welcome to be here, and I love and appreciate you, brother. You helped me grow some. Yeah, there's a lot of people comes in my chat, that I don't know, the F-bomb offends them.
Well, I try to respect everybody's channel. And I noticed, I went back and watched that old video I did when that thing streamed out in the middle of the woods. And after it streamed in the woods and I stuck my head out the door, I was dropping some F-bombs, S-bombs, and all sorts of stuff. But, man, it just kind of freaked me out. But I usually try to stay pretty clean.
Just keep your gear on, John Boy.
It's handy. It's handy.
You might need it. You never know. What's his name? Mike Morales. He put a video out the other night how they spray all these chemicals and stuff in these wars off the coast. Use these submarines and it's smoke. The wind blow the smokish, the fumes into the land, and it infect and kill people using napalm bombs and stuff like that, and the chemical go over the land. That's biological,
Well, I've been worried about that for a while, man. All these like football games and NASCAR races, all somebody has to do is fly a drone in there of a vial of some sort of bio, anything, and get everybody sick.
Amen, Lord. Thank you for coming in. It's nice to have you come in. I tried to go in your live stream the other night when you were doing the games, and it kept breaking it up. I was on my way home in the country, too.
I hadn't seen Amy in a long time.
She's a happy, I adore happy people. She really is. She's a beautiful soul, and a lot of people are. But, I've never been in the same room, but I'm sure she likes a room up.
Yeah.
I just love and appreciate, young people with this audacious life. That really want to just be happy. And I know we're all human and everything, but there's a time that I might look down and out. I haven't seen her look down and out not one time.
I know I have. I've looked down and out. Not her.
And I might have used the wrong word there, but you could tell when somebody lights up a room, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Got Shadrach Blaze in the house.
If anybody wants to come on, you're welcome to come on. I'm going to try one more time. We was talking about this COVID-19. It's been very frustrating. We have been stuck for a couple of weeks with just 20 tests a day. This is in California now. Bill and Son said the residents of the Elk Grove facility are now subject to special protective measures. That's something else that gets me, how they taking these people off the ship and they're going to take them to this military place. What's going to happen to these people? And what gives the government the right if they quarantine or lock these people up? I mean, if they're a public health threat, I can see it. I mean, you should self-quarantine. You think people's being watched when they do self-quarantine, that there's somebody watching them?
I don't know. There's no telling, though.
How they going to know if you went to
you mean the ones that they send home to self-quarantine? I've been wondering about that myself.
Right. How do they know if you're going to be sitting in your home or where you're going if you left the house?
I don't know.
Love waves. What is this? Love waves rifting forever. Is that European $9.99? Thank you so much. Wow, I appreciate that. Thank you. Love waves drifting forever. I love and appreciate y'all, man. John Boy, you're a good brother, man. I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you, Dave. You're my buddy.
Do you have anything else? If you're going live tonight, I'll go on yours.
I go live when I haven't been wanting to go live much. And I don't know. If I do, I'll give you a link.
At least send me a text, if you will.
Hey, and I'll apologize for that, Dave. I had my phone been in the house all day, and I've been out here in my shop. And then I went to the store and came back. And the only reason I saw you texted me is I had to take the phone off the charger. I don't carry my phones with me or nothing. I don't want them tracking me.
I carry my phone everywhere I go. I guess I'm being tracked. I don't worry about it. I mean, what can we do about it?
I like to leave them. Well, you haven't ever had one of those health surveys, have you? Where they call you on the phone and ask you how many guns you got.
How many you got?
I got a bunch. I'm not going to tell them where they're at and what they are.
Them helicopters have been flying over your house a lot, John Boy. They out to get you, man.
Yeah, that's what I think. No.
I watch a lot of channels when I'm there and people don't even know I'm watching. That's why I went with the 007 for a while. I'm a spy, man.
Oh, okay. That just didn't roll off my tongue good like the Super Dave 44. That comes right on off.
Yeah, I'm just picking. Amy Amore called me James Bond. So I went with that,
I got you. But yeah.
All right. Thank you, buddy. And thank you so much for them super chats, Chrysler Imperial. Y'all stay healthy, man. We don't want this outbreak to affect anyone here in our love streams, I sit here and ate a big cup of chicken noodle soup.
I just ate some meatloaf.
I put a video out earlier. I want to correct this. Earlier this week, I cannot substantiate about the stocking up of food 100%. I did hear it being said by, let me say, a manager. But I took it down because if it's false information, I ran with it at the moment. I guess we're going to have to wait and see because I really don't know.
Well, Dave, I think it's false because you can look at our seaports and there's no ships in there at all, so nothing's being unloaded. And at least I mean I'm guessing numbers, but I would say at least over 90% of our canned goods come from overseas and stuff. So if we don't have ships coming in and ships aren't being unloaded, I feel like this: when you start seeing less 18-wheelers on the road, there's a problem. That's all you gotta do, just watch your surroundings. You know what I mean? And you start noticing no trucks.
I wish I had a camera to the port in Charleston, where and the port in Charleston, South Carolina, is one of the biggest ports in America. I need to look for that, like Awake did. I mean, to see what's moving. If we could see firsthand what's moving. I even been watching the train, and I'm watching to see if you get any video of a military equipment, anyone out there, put it up. That's going to tell you in your state, your locality, what's fixing to happen. In New York, there's military on the ground.
I'm torn a couple different ways on that one myself. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's like, they did that to help control it, but at the same time, it's installing fear because you got the military out there now. That I don't know how to take that.
Let's just hope for the best, y'all. John Boy, hope for the best, buddy. I appreciate you. I thank you all. I get paid. I'll contribute to your channel when you go live, buddy. I appreciate it. I know time is money. I know you don't want nothing, but it's all good, man. I respect and I appreciate everything you do.
Well, I'm the same with you, Dave. I appreciate it all. And thanks for having me up on your panel today.
Thank you for coming on. Miss Ann Walsworth, Love Waves Rifting It Forever, Kimberly Hollingsworth, everybody, Monstar Sports and Entertainment. Is it the military just handling stuff? Let's see this comment. And cleaning up, I've heard that they're going to be cleaning a lot of facilities and stuff like that. So we'll see how this goes, y'all.
Yeah. Just practice cleanliness. That's all you need to do.
In this video, we had a nurse and we had Be the Change, and they had good information. Anyone want to go back and watch some of it? You're welcome to do that. I'll see you later, John Boy.
All right. Well, thank you, Dave. See y'all later in chat. Thanks for coming by.